Fowler, and my purpose today is to inform and persuade others that by getting vaccinated or by vaccinating your children, you can not only protect your family, but you can also help protect others that could be immune suppressed from diseases, which could cause them to lose their life. I have taken the time to research and study the many benefits of vaccinations and how they affect others, as well as have provided credible sources that provide supporting information. To start, many question vaccinations because they don't understand why you would get vaccinated if that certain disease doesn't seem to appear to be around anymore. While it may seem highly unlikely that you could contract a certain disease, if enough of the population aren't vaccinated, then the disease can actually come back. Usually the percent of those vaccinated is higher than the amount of those who are not. However, these numbers seem to be switching roles, which means that chances of getting an almost eradicated disease is now becoming higher. As Sarah Dewsbury says from the Northfield Guide to Writing, it is because of these choices that measles outbreaks are becoming more and more common around the United States and in other countries as well. By treating the disease as if it were still going around, our chances of getting an illness and spreading it to others around us actually decreases. So if we aren't taking the precautions to protect ourselves and others, then we may end up where we were in the beginning of that certain disease. It is important to remember that diseases never completely disappear, and it is only through the use of vaccinations that the reoccurrence of those once deadly diseases can be minimized. So people wonder, can vaccines make us sick or cause reactions? While an adverse reaction to a vaccine is what makes the headlines, the probability of you getting sick from the vaccine is actually very low and is usually less severe than the disease itself. Occasionally, vaccines can potentially cause reactions or illnesses, but that doesn't mean that you should consider getting vaccinated. While it may seem like a risk of sickness, you could actually prevent that same type of sickness in the future. So, aren't there enough people vaccinated that the possibility of contracting the disease is very unlikely? Due to herd immunity, typically most people are vaccinated so that ones who aren't vaccinated aren't affected. A woman named Helen Bedford wrote an article titled Measles and the Importance of Maintaining Vaccination Levels, which says, because measles is so infectious, a high level of immunity is needed before herd immunity can be attained. Herd immunity occurs when a certain percentage of a population is vaccinated, and the speed of the disease is effectively stopped. However, that doesn't mean that you should take the risk of increasing your chances or the chance of others getting the disease. So would you really be willing to risk the chance of getting a disease that could have been easily prevented? Holzman wrote an article titled Eradication of Measles, Remaining Challenges, which says, because of its high inefficiency and spreading, a single person with measles infects an average of 12 to 18 people in a fully susceptible population. That's a lot of people. So instead of increasing your odds and everyone else's around you from getting a disease, you can simply prevent a certain illness from spreading by just getting vaccinated. Some also may question why certain people would be choosing to threaten the majority of the population. Though there are some reasonable details to consider, such as potential risks and side effects, one may make an educated decision from research and consulting your family physician. An article written by Alexander Lang says that generally the virus can survive in the air or on fomites for up to 2 hours. As such, disease transmission does not require direct contact with an infected person. Measles is a highly contagious disease, and up to 90% of susceptible contacts develop a disease. a man named Andrew Wakefield who had claimed that there was a link in autism and vaccination. However, his assumption was false and he was eventually tried for misconduct. But because of Wakefield's false research, he affected many people, and they are still hearing and seeing material about his assumption, which has caused an unrealistic fear of vaccines. The media and sources displayed on the internet aren't always reasonable and honest. So, some people could argue that it's my choice. And while we do have rights in this country, it is fair to honestly consider the benefits of vaccination. Conduct your own research and talk to your doctor about any concerns you may have. So, in summary, here are a couple different ways that getting vaccinated can actually benefit you. First, by getting vaccinated or by vaccinating your children, not only are you protecting your family, but you are also helping protect others around you that could be immune suppressed from diseases. By treating the disease as if it were still around, our chance of getting an illness and spreading it to others actually decreases. Diseases never disappear, and it is only through the use of vaccines that the reoccurrence of those once deadly diseases can be minimized. So instead of increasing your odds and everyone else's from getting a disease, you can simply prevent a certain illness from spreading by just getting vaccinated. And remember that vaccines are also important for ridding our population of disease, not just yourself. So, although it may feel like there are overwhelming decisions to make, ask yourself, do I want to protect myself and those around me, or do I want to create a risk that can be easily avoided? With some credible resources and articles, your worries can be minimized. Some people in other countries don't even have the opportunity to get vaccinated and feel the effects from those certain diseases still running rampant in their lives. So even if the disease doesn't seem like it's still around, it is still extremely important to do our part in keeping the disease wiped out. And finally, don't take the chance of getting a disease by relying on those around you who are vaccinated. Protect yourself and others by choosing to vaccinate. So, in conclusion, we went over the many ways that vaccines can help prevent infectious diseases, as well as included credible resources that provided reliable information. I hope that each of you have benefited from this speech and understand that the chance of you having a reaction to a vaccine may actually outweigh the chance of you getting the illness or disease itself, and I hope that you each will keep these points in your mind throughout the future. Thank you.